Hello everyone, I have a very interesting lighter for you today. Some of you might recognise it. It's quite a retro one. It is an IMCO 6600 Junior, which I think it says on the bottom there, if you can sort of get the camera at a good angle to read it. I think I've got that upside down there for you. Yeah, there we go. IMCO TRIPLEX, patent made in Austria, Junior 6600. So 6600 is the model number. There's at least a 6700 as well, which is very popular, and Junior just means it's the smaller one. So you can see on there's some orange and green paint that's mostly worn off, or a bit of yellow there. And that must have been the original paint job on the lighter, because this is a very sort of old lighter, I guess 50s or 60s, these are quite popular. IMCO has been around a very long time. They were an Austrian company. Sadly they went out of business not too long ago. But they used to make sort of lighters. They're like the Austrian, sort of German-Austrian version of Zippo. And they mostly made petrol lighters, although they did do a couple of gas lighters. Funnily enough, I found when I was looking through my lighters, I did have an IMCO gas lighter, which I'm not a massive fan of, but the petrol sort of oil lighter fluid ones are very good. So basically it's a strike on open lighter, so you do that and it lights. A very, very good design. It strikes nearly every time when you open it. So you've got your wick in there, the cap there is designed so it obviously doesn't use up too much fuel. And as you can see there, you've got your sort of windproof section. So it's hard to get it out without blowing from the top, but then that will go out. So the features of this lighter are quite interesting. You've basically got at the bottom, I'll pull it out so you can all see it. So the bottom of the lighter pulls out, and you get this bit which is like the candle which has the lighter fluid in. So you've then got the mechanism of the lighter there. See, if you strike it open now, you get sparks, but you don't get any flame because the lighter's not in there. You'll notice that the sort of flint wheel is on the inside there, and that's just a tube. So we have this section, we'll disassemble this, pull that end bit off, and you've got your sort of cotton wad in there with the wick at the top end, which you fill with lighter fluid. This is just a base cap. And then that goes into there. Now this section, if I keep that out for a moment, this section you push in on the bottom there and you have a spring released mechanism, if I can get it to move now. I've got that on really tight. Give me one moment. Okay, here we go. So that's been sort of pulled out of there. It then flips open. So that's basically your entirety of the lighter, just this. So what you've got here is the striker cap. Oop, the striker cap up there, sort of on the top. That's sort of closed at the moment. You've got this bit that opens, and you've got the flints in there. You've got a storage space for a spare flint there, and the actual flint is pushed up sort of on this mechanism on the spring into the flint wheel there. So to close it, you basically pop that bit down, push this down, and then it closes on it. It's a bit like putting a dust cover on an AK. Then you've got that sort of closed again. So what you can do is shove your actual bit with the fuel in there, and then obviously strike it. I bet I've not got the wick quite lined up, because it was working almost every time before. There we go. So you've then got obviously a wick there. Now a cool feature of this lighter is if I pull down here now, I can take the actual inside out and use it like a candle. So if there was something I couldn't reach with this, I can simply take this out and use it separately, which is a really nice feature. So you blow that out, pop that back in, the autofocus has gone screwy, and there we go, everything's back assembled. So I like the light on open mechanism. There we go, it's working again. As you can see, the windproofing mechanism is pretty good on this lighter. So as you open it, it strikes. Notice the cap there sits very close into the wick, stopping fuel evaporating. The bottom area is all tight in. people have told me these last anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks normally on fuel retention, compared to a Zippo's 1 week. That's very good. I have to wait a bit longer on the Bra's Zippo to see how that works. I'll just compare it to you now, the size of an actual Zippo, so you can see that. Right, there's the Zippo, and obviously the IMCO on the left. I think the Zippo goes out actually a little bit easier than the IMCO does. But size-wise, you can see that the Zippo, about the same height, but the Zippo is quite a bit wider. Obviously, if you got the full-size IMCO, not the Junior, it's a bit taller, but I don't think it's all that much wider. But this is the only IMCO I have. Another interesting note about this one is it says Polo on the side. Now, as far as I'm aware, that's not a model number, because you can get these that say Chesterfield. So I think that where it says Polo, that's like Polo cigarettes. So you can get Chesterfield ones, there might have been a few others. But yeah, so I don't know yet how good the fuel retention is until I try it myself, but I've been told it should be, hopefully, you know, about sort of 2 weeks to a month, hopefully. As you can see, very cool looking lighter. I'll just quickly show you the butane lighter I had that's apparently an IMCO. If it's a real IMCO, it should, if it focuses, yeah, IMCO. Assuming this isn't like some sort of fraudulent one. I have this pipe lighter that's apparently an IMCO. It has this weird dual flint system that I don't really like, where, you know, supposedly you turn both wheels at once. You see all the sort of smoke coming up from that when I burn the flint. The gas selector's on the bottom, so righty-tighty, you won't get any flames, and lefty-loosey, that's all the way left it goes. A really big flame. But yeah, I'm not a massive fan of this lighter. It just doesn't feel that well to put together, to be honest, especially compared to the old retro IMCO sort of petrol lighter. This is a bit, I don't know. It's not as bad as I remember it being now I've gotten it out, but it's, you know, like I said, I don't like the flint system. I wish they just had a single strike wheel. Whereas this, you know, where you just put your thumb there and do that, and it lights, hopefully, is a much better system in my opinion. So there we go. I've got one of these retro IMCO lighters now. You can get these for about £15 to £20 on eBay, depending on how good the condition is and everything. There's the 6600, the 6700, and then there's the Junior version that I've got. The 6700 is quite interesting because where that is, you've got a metal band you can put up and down where you can adjust the flame height that way by letting more oxygen in and out, which is really cool. But you do have to be careful with IMCOs because there's a lot of copies made of them that aren't actual proper IMCOs, and supposedly the quality's a bit crap compared to the real IMCOs, like the sort of bootleg ones. As I said, IMCO's out of business, so it's not like you're, you know, going to get a new IMCO, but you just have to be careful that, you know, if you're buying one that you think's an IMCO, it's an actual IMCO, otherwise you're getting ripped off on basically a £5 lighter being charged for 20 quid or so. If you can't find an old one, you might as well get one of the bootleg ones because the company is out of business. But you know, it's a shame if you can get one of the sort of restored retro ones, then do that. It's a very, very cool old lighter.